What is going on, guys? Gamers Goon here today, and I'm recording this on a Sunday. Usually it will be a Friday for this the second episode of the week. However, I did have the Blazers game. If you follow me on Twitter, I went to the Blazers game, so I was doing that. And then yesterday I did not film anything. Woke up later in the day and then just watched the football games that were going on. Um, as you can see, it's obviously Sunday. Darnell Mooney had a fantastic game. Um, and I'm going to be working off the assumption in this video, but next video we're probably going to touch into it more once things are probably confirmed. Matt Nagy is more than likely not going to be our coach in about 3 to 5 hours. Currently, the game just ended, and I'm going to go off the assumption that he is not going to be there. But that's not necessarily what we're going to be talking about. Right now, I actually have the Ravens Pittsburgh game because it is in overtime. The winner remains in the playoff hunt. The Packers, they just lost, and I do want to talk about the Packers just a little bit. They're some frauds. Not even ironically, not even me just being a Bears fan here. They they played Aaron Rodgers, and they did not look good while playing Aaron Rodgers. The only reason that they put in Jordan Love and lost the game is because they were going to lose the game either way. So they put in Jordan Love to be a scapegoat so that they can say, well, Aaron Rodgers would have won the game if we left him in the game. Because they didn't need to have, I think they still had the 1 seed. I don't think the Rams winning, they haven't played yet, but I don't think the Rams winning really affects anything. I believe the Packers would still have the advantage over them. But when you're looking at the playoffs so far, um, Cowboys, they picked up their win. They went 12-5 on the year. They're going to be fine. The Eagles, they got dominated, literally dominated. Um, but I believe the Eagles are pretty much set in stone in the playoff hunt. I mean, the Saints, I think, have a chance. Maybe the Saints might be able to have a chance at being there with the Eagles. 49ers, and they have to win. But for the most part, the playoffs is relatively set for both sides outside of the Chargers and the Raiders game. I think a lot lies on that game because if Pittsburgh wins, they're making the playoffs as long as the Raiders and Chargers don't tie. The Raiders and Chargers tie, both of those teams will be making the playoffs. I believe there's also a scenario that in the AFC that the Colts won't make it if Pittsburgh wins and I think the Chargers lose, or maybe then I don't. I think there's a scenario where the Colts don't make it. The Colts needed to win today. Um, Granted, they still have a good shot at making the playoffs because a lot needs to go wrong in the next couple of days to miss the playoffs. But the Colts, they stunk it up today, man. They stunk it up. That were awful against the Jaguars. The Jaguars were showing that they are potentially a team that if you're a head coaching candidate looking for a job this summer, maybe the Jaguars can be something. They got Trevor Lawrence. They're going to be having Travis Etienne when he comes back. They're going to still have guys like Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones, DJ Chark. They're going to have a lot of those guys still around. Question is, do you want to go there in a culture that's been known to be losing culture for a while? They had one season with Blake Bortles that they looked good, and then they fell right back off to the bottom of the league. I mean, is it something you really want to do? I don't know if you're a head coaching candidate. But yes, it's going to be a very fun playoff. Because I believe the Titans are going to be the 1 seed in the AFC. I might be wrong. Right now it's listed as the Chiefs, but I think the Titans are going to be the 1 seed because they won. The Chargers are currently the 7th seed before playing that game against the Raiders. A lot lies on that game tonight. We're definitely going to be talking about that game on Tuesday's episode. That's going to be huge. The Bengals. Did the Bengals play? When did they play? I don't think I've seen the Bengals. Oh yeah, the Bengals played the Chiefs. The Bengals played the Chiefs. All right, my bad. No, the Bengals played the Chiefs last week. They played the Browns this week and they lost. They lost, but they're still gonna make the playoffs. They just might not be the 3 seed. The Bills. I'm not really sure what the Bills did today either. Um, they haven't played yet. They play the Jets. They're probably gonna win. So the Bills might have a chance to boost up to the 3rd. The Colts right now are 6th. I think that's either going to be 7th or 6th. They're definitely not going up. They lost. They're not going up. The Patriots, they might have some room to maneuver. At 5, they might go up. They might go down. We'll see. Can they win the division? That's the real question. Can the Patriots win the division? The answer to that is yes. The Patriots have the Dolphins. Pretty simple. The Bills lose, they could win the division. But I'm going to assume both those teams win. So the Patriots will be the 5th, and we'll get a Bills-Patriots matchup probably as the 4-5 matchup in the AFC. But the playoffs, man, it's going to be exciting. It is going to be exciting. I will let you know what happens in this Pittsburgh game because I am glancing over at it every few seconds to make sure nothing drastic has happened. Both of these teams need a win to stay alive. So I am paying attention to that. If I do take a break in a moment, because I'm going to move on to the NBA, just know it's because this game still it has 6 minutes left. It's tied overtime. So I will talk about that if the game does end during this. But when we are going into the NBA, I want to talk about the All-Star game. I want to talk about the All-Star game. Now, you're not going to be able to see this. However, let me go here, the NBA All-Star voting. And let's bring it up here. Now I do have the last update of the All-Stars who had the most votes. So in the Western Conference, the fan votes LeBron James at number 1, obviously. Nikola Jokic makes sense. Paul George, I do not agree with whatsoever. He's been out for a period of time. Can he be an All-Star? Yes. Do I think he's the 3rd best player in the West in the front court? No. Andrew Wiggins, you can make a case for Wiggins. I just think there's some guys below him that deserve it more than him. Draymond Green, absolutely. Very impactful player for his team. I would put him over Wiggins. Anthony Davis, absolutely not. He has not been good this year. He's one of the worst jump shooters in the league, shooting 17% from 3. He's been injured. He does not deserve to be an All-Star. Anthony Davis does not deserve to be an All-Star, which is one of the problems I have with this is because what you see a lot, at least in the Western Conference, is heavy markets like Los Angeles and Golden State are really putting people in there that shouldn't be in there. Karl Anthony Towns, to me, Karl Anthony Towns should be a lock for the All-Star game. He should not be the 7th in the front court on the West. To me, Karl Anthony Towns has been one of those guys. He has been one of those guys all year long. Carmelo Anthony, absolutely not. Has he had a solid year? Yes. Has he had an all-star year? No. Rudy Gobert, 100%. I believe Rudy Gobert needs to be in the all-star game, man. Rudy Gobert needs to be in the all-star game. And then 10th in the West front court, we have DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton, I think there's a decent enough argument to get DeAndre Ayton in there. Hold on one second. Sorry about that if you're watching the video portion of this this podcast, because I did need to get a charger, and it took me a minute to find where my charger was. So sorry about that if you're watching the video portion. If you're not watching the video portion, then obviously you don't need to worry about it. But then we move into the guards of the Western Conference, and I don't agree with a lot of this. I do not agree with a lot of this in the Western Conference. First guard, Steph Curry. He has a case, obviously. I'm not going to argue against Steph Curry as a starter. Luka Doncic, I will argue with. He has missed a lot of games this season. And when he has played, he hasn't been, oh my God, that's Luka. It's more so, He's good, but he could be better, and he hasn't played a lot of games this season. Then we had Ja Morant as third. To me, Ja Morant is an MVP candidate, and he should be up there with Curry. He should potentially be the starting point guard in the West. Then you got Klay Thompson. And this is what I was talking about. The Golden State, the LA, all these fan bases, man, they convolute this thing where you can't even have fun anymore. Instead of getting guys that deserve it, like a whomever, like a Miles Bridges, or a Darius Garland, or Fred VanVleet. Obviously, I'm naming guys from the East. You're getting players they've been all-stars before, but they haven't done anything. Klay Thompson, we actually will get to see him play tonight. He will be an all-star. He will play tonight. Klay Day. Klay is back tonight. Good for him. Look forward to it. But he doesn't deserve to be an all-star. Just because he's Klay Thompson does not mean he's an all-star. Devon Booker's behind him. Devin Booker's had a solid season, yeah. Makes sense. Chris Paul is behind him. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's one or the other. Because when you look behind him, you have Donovan Mitchell, who I think should be close to being a starter. Damien Miller, he hasn't been a elite player like we know him to be. Has he been good when he's played? Yes. But I don't think he's going to play a lot of the season because CJ's out. There's really no need for them to compete this year. They're not going to make the playoffs more than likely. Just develop the young guys. So I don't necessarily agree with that. Westbrook, no, Westbrook's not been good. And people want to sit there and try to make him sound better than what he is. He's not been good. And then we have Anthony Edwards, who I believe 100% should be an all-star. Will he be an all-star this year? No, but he will be an all-star in the future. And then we get to the East. The East, obviously the front court. I believe everybody knows the top three names were going to be Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. I think anybody could have guessed that. Then you get Jason Tatum, who I don't agree with. I'm looking on the list here, and I don't see in either of these Jaylen Brown, who I believe has had a better year than Jason Tatum. I don't think Jaylen Brown is less deserving than Jason Tatum as a all-star. And obviously they shouldn't be getting two all-stars, but I don't agree with Jason Tatum. Jimmy Butler, I don't even really agree with. He's been good when he plays, but he's been out. He had that tailbone injury. He had an ankle injury. He's been out. Jared Allen, I 100% am behind. I think he deserves it. I think he's played phenomenal basketball. I don't think he's necessarily the best big man on his team. I think that's Evan Mobley. But Jared Allen has a case. He has a case. But I think Cleveland should only get one all-star. So is that Darius Garland? Is it Jared Allen? Who knows? Then you get Bam Adebayo. Same thing. When he plays, he's good. But Bam Adebayo should not be ahead of Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges is the next, and Miles Bridges has consistently impressed everybody. But apparently only 122,000 people voted for him. That's not good. LaMarcus Aldridge. I understand why he's had a better year than what he probably should have. Well, is he a top 10 player in the East? I don't know. Nikola Vucevic. The last few weeks, he's been phenomenal. After the first part of the season, he was awful. 10th seems like a good spot for him, in my opinion. And then we get to the guards in the East, and we got the boy, number 11. I'm not wearing the Bulls yet. I will be later today because we have a game. DeRozan. He is the top guard in the East. He absolutely deserves it. He's going to be a starter this year. It's going to be good for everybody. I'm very much looking forward to seeing DeMar DeRozan in the All-Star game, because we should have two players in the All-Star game this year as the 1 seed. DeRozan's been phenomenal. Absolutely 100% deserves it. Two huge game winners. back-to-back nights after New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. A lot of eyes on him. A lot of votes going to DeMar DeRozan's way. You love to see it. Then you got James Harden. James Harden, don't get me wrong, he's been better as of late, but he should not be second. He should not be second. Who should be second is Trae Young. Trae Young deserves it. Trae Young has a little bit to catch up on, but I would say Trae Young should be above James Harden. And I would also say Zach Levine deserves to be above James Harden. Zach Levine's had a great year. Zach Levine himself is having a low-key an MVP kind of season. It's just getting overshadowed because the guy hitting the clutch shots is DeMar DeRozan. I mean, they've both been playing phenomenal basketball. It's been 1A and 1B. It hasn't been you're the second option, you're the first option. It's been you're both first options. Go get your bucket whenever you can. And the game-winning shots just happen to be DeRozan. Then we have LaMelo. I think he definitely deserves to be an All-Star. I don't think he'll make it this year, though. We have Kyrie Irving. Kyrie does not deserve to be here. He plays like 2 games so far. He did score 22 in his opening night, but he doesn't deserve to be here. Derrick Rose. I'm going to have him over some of the guys. But he deserves it more than Kyrie. Tyler Hero, absolutely. Tyler Hero deserves to be an All-Star. He's been phenomenal this year. Same thing with Darius Garland at 9. I've seen him play in person. Darius Garland was amazing. He's been amazing all year. That Cavaliers team is nothing if Darius Garland is not on the court. So you definitely need him in the All-Star game if you're asking me. And the same thing with Fred VanVleet. Same argument I gave for Darius Garland with Fred VanVleet. They can't win basketball games if he's not on the court. They don't have anybody that can do anything with the ball in their hands outside of Darius Garland and Fred VanVleet and those 2 teams. Both of them absolutely deserve to be NBA All-Stars if you ask me. And then that leaves who I think will be the All-Stars. I won't give you my full All-Star lineup until we're closer to the All-Star game. I will give you a whole 12-man roster of who I believe. But let's start it off on the West. We're going to go guards on the West. To me, Ja Morant, he has solidified a starting bid for me, at least personally. And then, to me, it's between Steph Curry and Donovan Mitchell. And I think Steph Curry, obviously, the last few games, he's been kind of slowed down. He might slow down more because Klay's coming back. But I'm still going to give him the nod. Phenomenal basketball player, Steph Curry. But I also believe Donovan Mitchell will be in that race. And then we got the forwards. Obviously, I believe it's pretty easy to know where a lot of these forwards are going to be from. For me, LeBron James, obviously he had a streak of him like 6 or 7 games in a row. He was just dropping 30-point games one after another. Nikola Jokic having one of the most efficient seasons in the NBA this season. And to me, instead of Paul George, who they think it is, or Wiggins, or Draymond, or Anthony Davis, I go down to the number 7 guy, and I say, I give Cat the starting nod. I give Karl Anthony Towns the starting nod. So my starters on the West look like Curry, Ja Morant, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and Karl Anthony Towns. You can run Karl Anthony Towns at the power forward position. And then you get the guards on the East. And when you get to the guards on the East, obviously DeMar DeRozan's 1. Zach Levine, I would love to put him up there. And I believe he is going to be on the All-Star team, but I think Trae Young is more deserving. Both of those guys should be the starting guards in the East. And then you get over to the East forwards, which obviously is not going to be that exciting because you got Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. So there you have it. There's your starting lineups for both of those teams. It should be a good All-Star game. We'll get more info and more in-depth as it comes closer. And the Steelers just won. I'm sure you could have heard my roommates yelling about it. They just won the game, and the Steelers keep their playoff hopes alive. We will talk more about sports on this upcoming Tuesday. Make sure to stay tuned. Should be fun. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm sure later tonight we're going to get some coach firings. Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio already got fired. Maybe he'll end up back in Chicago. Maybe he'll end up in Oakland. Maybe he'll end up somewhere else. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you tune in for more.